Hi, this is Martin from Martin's Engine Services. Today I'm going to make a video about my 1970 Wheelhorse Raider 10 tractor. This has been in the family for probably well over 45 years now and has done quite a lot of work. It was purchased by my grandfather to cut a field and various paddocks, and it's soldiered on happily. It's been through very tall grass and muddy environments. It's pulled out small trees, pulled trailers, pulled mowers, pulled cars, and at one point I even put a snowplow attachment on the front to clear our yard. A remarkably reliable machine. They were exceptionally well built in America by the Wheelhorse Corporation, who pioneered basically the small size tractor. It's essentially a scaled down version of a full size tractor, featuring a sort of rear mounted gearbox attached to the chassis and a very robust front axle, all heavy duty cast components, which have all stood the test of time exceptionally well. They're actually imported from America to Belgium, where they were then imported to the UK, and they came with a variety of mower decks. A lot of these were 42-inch decks, but this one's actually got a 36-inch 3-blade unit, which is a rear discharge deck, unfortunately, which tends to spit all the grass straight up the back wheels and over the transmission. It was built in an era when there were no safety features whatsoever, and you simply got on and went, and if you happen to fall off, it keeps going. My dear grandfather did actually do that one day. The seat latch has never worked, and one day he leant back to stretch his legs and he shot off the back and had to chase it across the field. Particularly delightful feature you'll be aware of. Here is the actual flywheel of the engine. It has a screen over the top, but it's rotating all the time, and here is the clutch pedal. So when you put your foot on the clutch, beware, because you will saw a piece off the side of your boot or your shoe. It has a very good high and low range gearbox, giving three forwards high, 3 forwards low, and of course reversing both. In 3 high, I think this thing will probably do about 20 odd miles an hour. It's well over gear, but in 3 low, you can probably put it in. You put it in 3 low, tick over, and about half an hour later, it may have made it across the garden. This gives it tremendous pulling power, and it's been used to good effect on many occasions. The clutch for the cutter deck is operated by this lever system, and it's very effective unit. I did carry out a nut and bolt restoration on this about 4 or 5 years ago, because once I got it back from storage, it was feeling it was a little poorly and showing its age. But I'd actually put it back into service with a bit of a freshen up and a quick repaint. But when I totally stripped it, I was in remarkable condition that most of the components were in, and requiring only a good clean up. A few bushes needed replacing here and there and a few little odds and ends, but fundamentally the machine is in probably 90% original condition. The mower deck had quite a few repairs over the years, as they always do, but it's made of exceptionally thick steel, and again it's been repaired. I've left the patches, they can be seen here and there, but a bit of character in the old deck. I did manage to obtain several replacement original parts from America, some of which were eye-wateringly expensive, and it's a shame really, because you can get all the parts there to do a really good restoration. The Wheelhorse decals and all the other decals on the deck and the various bits and pieces I actually obtained from a guy in England who makes all these for any mowers and machines, and I think the whole kit was about 70 odd pounds, which is remarkable because they are absolutely perfect and add the finishing touches. One item I did get from America, which probably was about £50, was the actual headlight glass with the Wheelhorse logo in the front, which I thought added a lovely touch, along with the absolutely correct Wheelhorse rear lamp as well. Probably a little bit over the top, but I kind of thought it looked lovely. And just an extra bonus, it all still works. It gives it a certain something. Not entirely sure when I'll be cutting the grass in the dark or driving up the road on it, but hey ho, it's all prepared should I need to. It even features a cigarette lighter, which is quite amazing. But I guess if you're out on the plains in America and you need a little refreshment, well, it's available. The engine is the ever trusty and almost bulletproof Kohler K series side valve unit. This one being a 10 horsepower or a K241. It's quite incredible when you buy the labels from the guy. He actually does them all to incorporate all the original engine numbers and information to whatever you require, which is a beautiful little touch, I think. I have converted it to points and coil ignition, as the original electronic ignition box decided to somewhat spectacularly fry itself a few years ago. And this little box, about 2 inches square, was eye-watering expensive from America, about 300 odd pounds. And these engines were actually fitted with points and condensers as an option, or as a electronics fit as an option. So it was easy to convert back, just requiring a couple of screws, set of points, and a couple of minor modifications of the engine, and it all just converts over very easily. And it works just the same, just no problem at all. The original electronic ignition system was actually somewhat of a really weird unit. In so much as that the flywheel contains an alternator which put out a very high voltage alternating current to start the engine. And when you turn the ignition key from the start position, it then converted the coil back to 12 volts DC. It's quite a bizarre idea, and I never really truly understood how it worked, but it seemed to do the job up until the day when it let the smoke out. And that was the end of that. The engine itself I did rebuild, probably would have been good 35 years ago now, when it got to the point where I say it was burning so much oil that it got hot and just wouldn't simply run anymore. This was built sort of before the pre-internet days, and obtaining parts was difficult, and we did have a local lawnmower centre you could get the parts, but sure knew how to stick a premium on the top. Probably cost more to rebuild the single cylinder engine than it did to rebuild the average 4-cylinder car engine. But it's a great little unit. It all starts and runs, performs well. It actually revs hard because it's actually governed at 3,600 RPM, so you can imagine it's quite an old thumper when she's running full throttle. Everything like the starter motor, the carburetor is original. It even has the original exhaust on, which has had a few patches and a few repairs, but it's still working after all these years, which is quite remarkable and does show the quality of the metal used. Back to the deck itself, with the 3-blade system, it is actually rotating at quite a high speed. It does have the capability of dealing with pretty much anything that goes through it. It's been over rocks and boulders and tree stumps and everything imaginable. But on one occasion, it ended up with a slight fight with my grand's rotary washing line, which he'd left laying in the grass, and my grandfather ran over it. And the noise was slightly spectacular, so I heard it from the other side of our yard. And it has to say that the wheel horse tractor deck won the fight quite spectacularly, and the rotary washing line was no longer. And also, it has to be also added to this, that my grandmother was somewhat upset by this, and there were a few very cross words that afternoon. I guess in some respects it was kind of an amusing incident, but I don't think at the time it went down very well. I don't actually use it now on wet grass, or if the weather's a bit horrible. It tends basically just to be cut. I just cut the grass on nice days, and so it's pretty much retired now. And it's more of a little sort of a little hobby thing now, and I look after it, and it gets serviced more than it needs to be. But it's nice to keep these old machines going. And if you watched any of my other videos, you'll probably notice that everything I possess is pretty ancient and pretty vintage. I mean, even my house is 13 odd years old now, so I do like the old stuff. It may be a bit creaky in places and the odd bit might fall off, but it keeps working and you know you can fix it and it's kind of dependable. I hope you enjoyed this video on my Wheelhorse tractor. Please like and subscribe, and if you want to, leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.